Welcome to The Artist Matters. I'm Alex Rudy, and each week you will meet incredible artists from all walks of life. Filmmakers, writers, actors, painters, musicians, and so many more, sharing their stories to motivate and inspire the creative in you. Whether you're doing it for fun or looking to make a living, this show will help you on your journey to bring out the artist within and letting the world know that your art matters. Hey everyone, it's Alex from The Artist Matters. Of course, welcome to the show and welcome to the end of the year. That's it. 2019 is coming to an end this week. And of course, it's time to reflect. Because I keep a journal, and I also keep a weekly goal notebook. I always do this. I write down my goals for the week, and sometimes it may spill over to next week. Like, say, the week after that is the end of the month, and the end of the month has maybe 2 days. I'll just include them. But I always do that. Not sure when I started doing that. I know I have been journaling here and there for years. I was doing that back in college, and it was really rough trying to keep up with each day, in addition to doing classes and homework and being in plays. It was very challenging. I had one of those thick pens that has about 10 different colors on it. I don't know if anybody had one of those. That was a fun pen. It had everything: black, red, blue, green, pink, brown, orange. A lot of colors. It was so fun to just have that one pen and do every day. And that's what I do when I do my journal. I like to do a different color for every day. But I was listening to one of the great motivational speakers of our time, Jim Rohn, and he has a whole program about keeping journals. And I had kept them, but stopped. When I heard that, I said, let me get back into it. And that was 2016. I think I started possibly in either late March or early April of that year, and have stuck with it since. And I think maybe the weekly goal thing might have come out of that, just because I like the idea of having something to check up on, saying, oh yeah, on this day I need to do this, or oh, we're going to meet some people on this day. Okay, there's something good to look forward to. And I have that written down, and as I do something, I check it off. If I miss something, I leave it blank, and maybe it's something that I can carry over to the week after and accomplish said goal. Plus, it's a good way to reflect and recap. It's a quick way, at least with the weekly goals. I can look back at each week and see, oh yeah, I did these goals. And then when I end the week, I'll add on things. If there's events, maybe celebrated a birthday, or someone passed, or I saw a movie that week that I liked, I usually put that in at the very end. It's a quick way to look back on what's been going on in my life. I know when I do my daily journal, this, I think, was something I also got from Jim Rohn. At the end, I will write down what went right that day. Could be anything from posting an episode of the podcast, getting a new guest, going to Busch Gardens, having fun there, going out to eat someplace nice, getting massages, just spending quality time with family, those things. Things that went right. Now you may say, okay, there's another thing you could publish, what went wrong? But no. Jim Rohn put it this way. Instead of doing that, write, what could I have done differently? It's a way of reworking it, as not pointing out something that's completely negative as what went wrong. But what could I have done differently that day? Whether it's watching less TV, which is the common theme I have in those sections, or reading more of a book, or researching more for a guest, writing to other potential guests. Those are the sort of things that, maybe I could have done those differently. And maybe the day after, I can have that opportunity to change and pivot and shift my mind, focus on what really matters instead of things that are taking energy away from what I could be accomplishing that day. But now as 2019 comes to an end, I want to reflect on the whole year, not just on The Artist Matters, but everything else. Because there's a whole life out there besides doing the podcast. But let's go back and see what this year has meant to me. What have been the highs, the lows, the triumphs, victories, the hard times, and how I came through. January. Well, the new year I was still reeling from my mom passing. She did pass December 16th of 2018, and I had just gotten back to Florida from New York, New Year's Eve of all days, as we had mom's service that last week of the year. And, as I came home, I made a video for mom's service that I mentioned before. It was a compilation of 4 songs and all video imagery of mom interacting with the people she loved and having a good time and showing her life in its many stages that I could capture on video. And I made copies for many of the people that were there and people that weren't. It was really nice to do that for them. I also was finishing up reading the book Outwitting the Devil, which is one amazing book by Napoleon Hill. It was released just 70 years after he wrote it, because it was very controversial at the time. If you ever read the book, you'll get what I mean. And even in this day and age, there's a lot of things that are brought up in there that really gave me a shift in my process. To not give too much away, the author interviews, air quotes, the devil. Is it really the devil? Is it his subconscious or whatever? For whatever reason, very deep and interesting points are made in this conversation that the devil has to give up his information because once the author asks these things of him, he has to divulge it. He's powerless to stop him from asking these questions. But he does warn him several times that if you bring this stuff up, people will condemn you and you'll be ridiculed and all this. And I can see in many ways with good reason. The conversations strike to the core of education and religion, calling them to the carpet for the way they operate, their belief systems, the way material is presented, which I have to say, in many cases, I believe he has valid points there. I won't really give much away. You should just read the book, but it really will force you to think in so many different ways. It is a must-read. I highly recommend it. I was also reading Crushing It by Gary Vaynerchuk. Really good book. It spotlights several people who have found their calling, their niche, whatever it is, and found ways to become entrepreneurs and get their message out there and make a living doing what they're enjoying and crushing it. So I began the book of The School of Greatness by Lewis Howes. I really enjoy his podcast. His podcast has definitely been a big influence on my approach and techniques for interviewing guests. He gets deep. I like that he'll expand on something if someone says I did this, and he'll say why. It gets a little deeper, but very friendly and conversational. He lets them open up and learn. I've learned so much about the incredible guests he's had on his show. And his book, School of Greatness, is a good one. It dives in deep and lets you know what greatness is all about, one way or another. So check that out. Also in January, we had that super blood wolf moon, which was quite a sight to behold. That red and orange hue going back and forth. It seemed so vibrant and alive. There was something magical about that, I have to say. Well, slowly but surely it began. I was actually getting guests as early as January for the podcast. I was interviewing them that early and learned a lot about questions and pacing and got some interviews in my pocket. Well, in February, I interviewed a few more people. And what else happened here? I'm looking at my thing there. I finally went to the dentist for the first time in years. Got my teeth cleaned. It was nice. Ish. It's good to have clean teeth. Celebrated Valentine's Day with my wife, and we got a couples massage. Haven't had a massage in many, many years, so that was quite enjoyable. And what else? I started creating a website through Wix.com. I see that. I had someone design my logo. I drew it out, and then I sent it to an artist on Fiverr named Anton. He did a great job getting it together. Very thankful for that. You did good, man. Sad news, one of my mentors and friends, Bob O'Tone, passed away on February 17th. So he's definitely missed. March was a big month. Of course, that is when The Artist Matters officially launched on March 4th. Wow. It doesn't seem that long ago, but it was back in March. And it seemed like a little success to me, just getting it out there. And I published my episodes. People have been listening since then, and I'm so glad I had all the guests on that I did. Got to interview some more. I did start seeing a grief counselor. Her name's Kathy, here in Florida. She was very helpful just to have someone to listen to and help me see where I was in my stages of grief and help me get a better understanding of how to process what was going on. I also participated in my first ever paint parties with Artful Possibilities. They had a setup going on in the church that I go to and had a blast. Painted a really nice, like a glass vase with some flowers in it. I was really pleased with how it came out. And we booked her again to have a little paint party at our house and did some flowers and really close up. It was so great. Helped me appreciate my acrylic paints. I have some, I just don't use them that much. I also got to see my friend Paul in the play of Mice and Men that he performed at Stage West here in Florida. It's great to see him on stage, and to be honest, I've never seen Of Mice and Men. And they had one heck of a cast to bring it together, including Paul. I'm grateful I got to see that and experience that. It's such a good and powerful and a bit of a downer of a story, but very, very good. Definitely got to check it out if you ever want to see the movie, read the book, or see the play. Check it out. You must. Celebrated my wife's birthday. That's her month. We got to see Captain Marvel on her birthday.